Hello, welcome back to BLENDERSUSHI Live Noding. In this episode, I will show you one more method in order that you can use in order to generate ASCII art, and I'll be using Sverchok. This is probably the strangest way, but it's actually I think the most interesting. Previously, you've seen how you can use Python and kind of using the ASCII custom character mapping to generate the ASCII art. That's actually kind of the most correct method because you kind of think about string and character map and then kind of generate artwork based on that. But in this case, I'll be like this is actually more like a semi procedural kind of way. So I'll start with is actually I'm gonna give like a bunch of these characters. This is just from the top of my keyboard. I don't know, I think I'm gonna use this and this, and I think that's pretty much it. Looks like an angry text object, but this is a single object that I will start to generate my ASCII kind of artworks. I'm gonna save this as Sverchok ASCII Advanced 2. So it's a little bit strange. Hopefully this works. Actually, I have not tested. This is more like me try to improvise. So we know this is like ASCII characters based on the text object. I will bring it into Sverchok, and inside Sverchok they become text object. They become a mesh data. That's what I mean. So let's have a look. And okay, that's what I mean. They become text object, and we can separate each and every characters. Maybe there will be like few objects that's kind of being separated weirdly, like this percentage, but that's okay. We don't care. We're gonna separate every loose part of the mesh anyway. So we apparently have 22 objects over here. 22 objects, and I will hide the original text object, so we cannot select it, and we only have a Sverchok viewer objects. Now with this guy being separated into 22 different objects, we can easily use list item and kind of listing the objects based on the data provided. So what I mean is, with list item we can go through each object one by one. But before I do that, actually I probably need to use a vector drop. If I'm not wrong, vector drop will kind of center the pivot of each and every object. So that's important. Vector in, plug that in. Well, I think I did it wrong, and now I only have a single object, so we cannot use vector drop here. How do I center the pivot then? File, save as. I realized maybe it's a good idea to separate the text object manually. There's a way to do this inside Sverchok, but I'll select the text objects and convert this text objects into a mesh, and then separate by loose part, and then center pivot, set origin to geometry. Now they are all separate. Get the selections into Sverchok, and we can hide this text object group and then hide it into different layer. Now we have our thingy being separated into 22 different objects. Okay, by doing that, we then have the ability to just scatter them into a grid or something. For matrix in, I will use the grid object, plane, node, and let's scatter some 100 of this kind of ASCII that's already being meshed. So now that we have like 100 of them, we need to have like 100 random values for all these how many, 22 character, then random number generator, and we need 100 of them. Plug this into this guy, and we should, if we're doing it properly, we should have this ASCII thing going on, random ASCII. There you go. This is already like a kind of a ASCII art. I think for this one I'm gonna have like a bright background and red color text maybe. Oh, that's really bright. Something like that. The text can be red. Cool. Now I think this is actually a lot faster. I don't know if this is any faster than the previous live noding one. I'll try 100 by 100. So we have 10,000 of data of this guy being generated on the fly. Okay. Maybe 10,000 is actually quite a lot of array of data to deal with. Maybe I shouldn't jump into 10,000 right away, but you can see here that the result is actually quite fast and easy to understand. Anyway, I'll go smaller, like 40 by 40, 1,600 sample, and of course, actually this thing is kind of slow already too. Maybe there's a better way, more efficient way to do this. 20 by 20, 400. So let's generate 400 different number for our ASCII, and because our character have 22 different ASCII, so we can increase it and use more of this random ASCII. Okay, that's another way to approach this ASCII art thing. So 400, how many do we have? 400. I'm pretty sure we have 400, but you see that there's like a repeat on the top there. Maybe there's a problem there. So 21, so 0 to 21, that's correct, that's more correct. So this is another ASCII art being generated on the fly, and we are using Sverchok to do it. And remember that with this plane, we can, with the points, we can kind of generate a maybe fracture turbulence and use this into that guy, and the value output can go into map range, and mapping the range of this into something between 0 and 21. We can simply plug this into our number, into our this list item. We should get something. It's complaining about something in this. List indices must be integer or slices. Float to integer. Something like that. And this thing still complaining. Maybe this value is not good for it. Maybe it's too small or something. Vector math. and this should be multiply scalar, and it can be 0.2. It seems like our turbulence mapping is not exactly working for this. So instead of using vector turbulence, I will use vector noise. I know this is gonna work. There you go. You can see kind of pattern. There you go. 20 by 20. I'll go a little bit higher. 40 by 40, 1600. I can even go like 40 by 50, 2000 array of numbers for our ASCII generators. And this thing, the result is actually more Sverchok friendly because we are using mesh kind of data. If we like it kind of more like landscape, let's see, 25, 50 by 20, 50 by 20. So 50 by 50 give us 2500. 50 by 25, maybe this is kind of nice. Okay, I like this landscape kind of format. So yeah, we get this random noise that goes into our character mapping, and it's basically getting the 22 different characters and just simply remapping it into our noise. Yeah, I think this is one. I think it's one of my favorite ASCII art. It's still kind of random, but this is very good setup. If you want to use your own image, or if you want to kind of resampling a movie or anything into this kind of ASCII art, you can do that very easily using this setup. I don't recommend very high value. Maybe I need to be careful with this number. Maybe just keep it simple, under 10,000 kind of array of numbers. But I kind of like this. And if you make like an ASCII art, better not to go too high value. This is still more interesting than if you go like super high details. You can't no longer see the character map, because the main point is really to create representation of an image using ASCII characters, you know, like letters, numbers, maybe more of this. I kind of like this. Yeah, so this is another method. Maybe there is another method that's actually do this much more efficiently and faster. I believe if you use OpenCV or OpenGL shading or like a game kind of programming, you can do this much faster. Maybe processing and kind of OpenCV webcam. Let's say, imagine you have like a webcam, real time, and then the pixels being sampled like in real time, and then turn into this ASCII character. That's gonna be awesome. This is still kind of basic. The modern way, like I said, the modern way of sampling, like maybe like deep sampling using neural networks, is something that's it's gonna be so awesome. Like the computer, if you imagine that computer that understand that this thing is actually like a curve, and this thing is if you have like an image of a dog, for example, and then you tell it to a computer, okay, resample this dog using all these ASCII character, but instead of just mapping it using the grayscale value, it's mapping it using the neural network kind of system. So it understands the curve of the dog, and then that's kind of more advanced. Maybe one day we can do that in real time. Maybe one day your smartphone can do that in real time, you know, who knows. But anyway, for now, this is another techniques you can use to generate ASCII kind of art using Sverchok add-on inside Blender. And yeah, hopefully you like it. Give me your feedbacks, comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for tuning in.